Hello, and welcome to today's live coaching call and community conversation. Today is Thursday. So, we are going to be talking about our mindset. And as promised from Monday's live coaching call, today we are going to be talking about emotional eating. And I'm going to help you devise some new mantras and thoughts around you, how you feel, how you're thinking, and helping you create a plan for yourself so you can stop emotional eating for good. So welcome. My name is Diane Parham. I am the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman, as well as our Midlife Mindset Shift group coaching program. Everything we do in this community, whether we're talking about intermittent fasting, we're talking about feasting well, whatever it is, always comes from the mindset approach, because if you can change your thoughts, you can in fact change your life. So if you haven't done so yet and you are new, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing and it helps us here in our community as far as our videos getting to the hands of women who actually need to hear them or want to be part of an amazing community of like-minded women, as well as hitting that like button. And if you're joining us on Facebook, as always, following the page and or liking and sharing our content is something that is just super invaluable to us here. And again, we'll get more women in our community, which is what we are hoping for. So let's get started on today's conversation. So I am going to treat today's conversation as a coaching call. This is how I really do manage all of my coaching situations and practices. Is exactly the way I'm going to roll out today's coaching conversation for you guys. So if you're interested in jumping into one of our classes, this will be very familiar to do for you, because what I do here is also how I teach and coach in my courses. So how to stop emotional eating for good. So the way we stop emotional eating is to really think about where our thoughts are coming from when we find ourselves in an emotional situation. So if you are saying to yourself, I am an emotional eater, then what you really have to ask yourself is, how is that working for me? So if you're saying, Diane, I'm an emotional eater, I don't know how to end it, then that usually is an indication that is in fact emotional eating is not working for you, right? So if you have identified something in your life that you are doing that's not working for you, then we have to ask ourselves why we keep doing that thing. And I think with emotional eating specifically, as again we saw on Monday, it is more socially accepted than we, I think, even care to want to believe, right? Or agree with. So we end up becoming a member of a large community of people who are going to be empathetic and understanding and be almost cheerleaders for us if we identify as emotional eating, so we don't feel alone. We feel like we have support. It's a common thing. Everybody's doing it. And so we don't really rush to trying to change our thoughts or find a solution, because why would we? Everyone wants to feel like they belong somewhere. So what we want to think about is, when we identify as an emotional eater, specifically in this situation, and it's not working for us, what do we do in that scenario? Because there are always also groupings of people who aren't emotional eaters and don't identify that way and live their life a different way. So you just got to find your new crowd of people. Welcome. This is where we all hang out when we don't want to be part of the emotional eater community, right? So if your answer is, it is not working for me, then change your thoughts about what you do in an emotional situation. So all you have to do is catch yourself and say, when I'm feeling emotional about whatever it is, and remember, emotions can be negative and emotions can be positive. And I'm going to share a situation with you guys about positive emotional situations in just a second, is you do what instead? So if you identifying as an emotional eater isn't working for you, then you can identify as something else. And we talked about this on Monday. When I'm feeling emotional, I get up and go for a walk. When I'm feeling emotional, I sit down and read a book. When I feel emotional, I go work out. There's a million things in life that we can do activity-wise other than eat. So if your default is to eat and that's not working for you, then you have to change your thought about that and then just insert what it is you want to be instead. It's catching ourselves before we fall into the act. Again, this is what we coach here in this community and in all of my programs every single day. So how do we do that, right? How do we do that? You just have to make sure that you stay present in the activities that you're in, and you are being honest with yourself. A lot of the problem with women and identifying as emotional eaters is it's just a situation where we're just not being honest with ourselves. Because if you don't like the end result of that, you have to be honest with yourself on the front end. Again, we talk about this here in this community all the time. Like, what's your why? Why is it that you want to end emotional eating? What is it that you're not getting as a result when you find yourself in that situation? You have to make that why bigger than the why you eat when you're emotional, and that's your go-to. So you have to really do the work on what the why is. A lot of times we just fall into these practices because we just stop thinking. It's not about eating more protein. It's not about eating more fat. It's not about cutting out carbohydrates. It's not about junk food. It's not about anything that has to do with nutrition, and has everything to do with how it is we are thinking, or if we're choosing to put ourselves in a non-thinking situation and we are just reactionary. So if your answer is emotional eating works for me, because what if it does? This is again where we just create this conflict for ourselves that creates a problem where maybe a problem shouldn't exist. So let's say you're like, I'm an emotional eater, and I ask you, how's that working for you? And you're like, man, it's great. Spend a day kind of just rummaging through the closet, find some snacks, manage my thoughts, and by the end of the day, I'm feeling much better. Then emotional eating isn't a problem, right? It's only a problem if we identify it as a problem. So if you have the conflict of, I am an emotional eater and I'm not happy with it, there's a problem. If you say, when I'm feeling emotional, I tend to eat, but I don't really think that's a problem for me, and here's the reasons why, then emotional eating doesn't have to be a negative. So, my little story about emotional eating. So, I'm a happy eater. I don't eat during stressful times. I don't eat when things are bad. I don't eat when I'm feeling blue. If I accomplish something, or I feel really excited about something or really positive about something, my first thought is, let's go have some chips and salsa on a patio somewhere. Like, let's go celebrate. And I had to become really honest with myself about that, because the end result of that was usually the opposite of the reward that I just received. Oftentimes it was because I'm in the health and fitness industry. Maybe we finished a big fitness challenge, and you get to the challenge and you reached all the goals that you wanted to reach. And my first reaction or my first activity was always, let's go eat chips and salsa, right? And it wasn't until I was like, why would I do that? That doesn't even make sense. And I resolved that conflict in my own brain. I now have a different choice that I make in a happy or celebratory situation. And I don't allow food to be the thing that is my reward. I find other things to do. Ended the conflict in my brain. So the other thing we want to think about is emotional eating doesn't always have to be a negative emotion. For some people, it can be a very positive emotion. The conflict arises when you get done with whatever it is you do in that emotional eating scenario and you don't like the result of that. So we always want to make sure that the thoughts that we have, which are creating some feelings inside of us, what does that lead us to do? And are we happy with that end result? And that's really where we have to start making some changes, whether you're happy or unhappy with the result that you're making in that scenario. Okay, so we want to get rid of the conflict. How do we get rid of the conflict? I call this giving yourself permission without punishment. Because for a lot of people who identify as emotional eaters, you give yourself permission, oftentimes in some sort of negotiation you're having with your brain about let's say the holidays or vacation or whatever it is that you find yourself maybe doing things that are out of character for you, then the event is over and the punishment kicks in because, again, we're not happy with the end result. I gained 20 pounds every December. Then in January, you have all this negative self-talk because of what you did around the holidays, or you gained 20 pounds on vacation. And at the beginning of vacation, you're like, we're going to go have the best time of our life. I don't care, what we eat or drink. Then you come back from vacation and you're in this negative state of mind because you gained weight or you don't like how your body's looking and feeling. And so then you punish yourself for it. So we want to make sure if we're giving ourselves permission to go away from what our norm is, then we have to make sure that we are doing that without punishment. Okay, Diane, how do we do that? So let's talk about that. So again, permission without punishment. This is tip number 2, by the way. Tip number 1 was changing your thoughts. So tip number 2, I know I eat when I feel emotional. You define the emotion, because remember, it can be negative, it can be positive. The more precise you are about the emotion you're feeling, the easier this work becomes. A lot of people really only define their emotions as happy or sad. There's an entire list of emotions that we can find ourselves in, and really getting comfortable and confident with that identification will help you realize what it is you do when you're in that feeling state, right? So I allow myself 24 hours to manage whatever the situation is. If you are finding yourself that you do things in an emotional state, just give yourself permission to have 24 hours to just kind of let the feelings be what the feelings are, and you don't judge anything that you do. Then you use an exit strategy. So here in this community, we talk about travel fasting, right? And how we fast on our way there, we fast on our way back. As soon as our vacation meals are over, usually the meal we have before we leave wherever it is we're vacationing, we start our fast. We don't bring it, we don't buy it, we don't accept it. We fast all the way back to where we started from, our home. We unpack, we shower, we go to bed, we start fresh. Just that exit strategy alone can change how it is you think and feel about vacationing, simply by putting an exit strategy in place on your route back. Same thing holds true if you find yourself being an emotional eater around the holidays, right? You pick a day on the calendar, whatever day it is for you, that your family or the people that you spend time with stop celebrating the holidays. Maybe it's the 28th, maybe it's the 31st, maybe it's January 4th. It doesn't matter. Pick a day. And you say, on this day, holiday celebrations end. I'm not going to think about anything else except getting back to what I know works for me. You don't worry about anything you ate. You don't worry about anything you drank. You don't worry about how you celebrated, because you've already given yourself the permission to do that. And that's in the past. What we want to think about is what we do moving forward, and making sure that we're not punishing ourselves. Because if you're staying in punishment, that doesn't feel good. And when we don't feel good, we don't make the best decisions for ourselves. We tend to be, depressed, or feeling like we want to self-sabotage some more, or negative self-talk, or whatever it is that we do when we're in a state of punishment. So you take the punishment away by implementing an exit strategy. You have to do this before the event happens. You do this during the permission phase of what you're going to enter. So whatever day the holiday ends for you, or the celebratory events end for you, you go back to doing what you were doing right before the holidays. Super simple, because that's what you get your best results. There's some disciplines that probably need to be put in place. We all figure that out during the permission phase as well. I throw away all cookies. I throw away all treats. Anything that has to do with a holiday that's a food or drink thing, I remove that from my environment, because those don't serve me, and I'm going back to what I know serves me. It's an exit strategy, which is basically just a plan for you to get back to doing what it is you do. So when you use your exit strategy, you move out of the situation without punishing yourself. You do this just because you've already made decisions when you are crafting what it is you're giving yourself permission to do. Oftentimes we give ourselves full-fledged permission, and we never think about how we're going to get ourselves out of vacation mode, holiday mode, work mode, stress mode, whatever it is. This works for any situation where you might be finding that you are emotionally eating, right? Permission without punishment. Another way that you can get there and really end the cycle of emotional eating, which is basically just an excuse or a lie we are willing to tell ourselves because we don't want to think about our life, right? And we don't want to think about the situation that we're in. So we want to breathe, pause, think, and ask. What does that mean? When you're feeling a certain way, again, the clearer you are in defining how you're feeling, the easier this work becomes. So if you say, when I find myself feeling stress or anxiety, what I'm going to do is just take a deep breath. I'm going to inhale and I'm going to exhale, and I'm just going to pause in that for just a second. Then I'm going to think about what's going on and what it is I say I really want for myself. And then you just start asking yourself a series of questions. If you can do this 4-step process while you're in this permission without punishment lifestyle plan, you can create whatever scenario you want so that the result that you get is what it is you say you really want for yourself. So you can insert any emotional situation, and then you create how it is you want to think about that. So what thought do you want to have? Not the one that comes up on automatic redial. You don't want to have the thought that your brain just recklessly creates itself. You create the thought that you want. So what you could say to yourself, when whatever situation comes up that I'm feeling a certain way, I want to think this thing, right? I want to think I am powerful when things feel out of control. I am in control when the dog poops on the carpet or the car doesn't start. I always manage my own thoughts. Then from that thought, you get to create a new feeling because your body is going to respond to the thought that you just planted in your brain. And you can totally redirect whatever it is you were feeling before. Then from this new feeling that comes from the thought you want to think, not the thought that just popped up randomly, then you will be able to execute what it is that will get you the result that you say that you want. So if you are an emotional eater and you don't want to believe that, you can say, in a state of me feeling emotional, whatever that emotion is, I go for a walk. If you believe that, then when you're in that thought, you can feel energized. And when you're feeling energized, you go change your clothes, you go for a walk, you drink your water, you call a friend, you put on a workout, whatever it is you do to back up what it is that thought is, because you're driving from that new energy, from the emotion you just created for yourself. Then the result will be, in fact, you are an emotional walker, or you are an emotional reader, or you are whatever it is you've created, because you just proved to yourself you are in fact that thing. If you are allowing yourself to believe you are an emotional eater, for a lot of people that feels shameful, right? Or it feels like you are letting yourself down, or you feel guilt associated with that. It's something that's usually negative. If that's the case for you, then how do you show up, or what kind of decisions do you make for yourself? What actions do you participate in when you are feeling negative? If the result that you get when you show up for yourself from a feeling of negative are not, those things aren't working for you, then you have to go back and change what it is you want to believe about that. It's all just changing your beliefs. So no longer eat when feeling whatever it is you tend to feel when you eat. It's all you have to say to yourself. I no longer eat when I'm feeling sad. I no longer eat when I'm feeling stressed. I don't eat when I'm feeling whatever it is you're feeling, and you have the power to do something else. It's all just about managing your thoughts, which will then change how you feel. You have to pay attention to that feeling. So you start to recognize that that new feeling that you created is your trigger to go execute. Then you have to retrace your steps and say, when I execute in this way, this is the result that I get. And I like this result so much better than the one that I was getting before. We aren't trained how to do this in the everyday world. We're not trained how to do this or taught how to do this in school. We have to learn how to do this on our own accord by just being fed up with, in this situation, being an emotional eater. If it's not serving you, you have to ask yourself, why are you doing that thing, right? How is this working for me? And then the answer you get from that question will be the thing that triggers your next move. This is why here in this community, we wear mantras, right? Hungry is where the magic happens. When I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling anxious, I sit in my own power of hungry and I drive from that strength because I know I'm sticking to my purpose. It is super easy to do with repetition. Just like the things that we do in repetition that aren't serving us, they are almost on automatic. You can switch what is on automatic for you if you just pay attention to your thoughts and your feelings and what it is you do when you're in that emotional and mental state. This is why here in this community, we teach intermittent fasting from the mindset approach, because it doesn't matter how many research papers have been done. It doesn't matter what macro count someone is suggesting to you. It doesn't matter what meal plan someone has handed you. If you are not in control of your own thoughts and feelings, then those things that have been put before you or the things that you've invested in will be short-lived, because your thoughts are always going to determine how you feel. How you feel is always going to determine how you show up. We have to remember that. So work on those thoughts, my friends. It will end emotional eating for you for good. Tip number 1, if the thoughts that you are having aren't working for you, change your thoughts. Number 2, give yourself permission without punishment. Create a plan when you're in the permission phase to include your exit strategy. It won't matter if you gain a few pounds over the holidays, because your exit strategy will get you back to where you were before you started. Most people don't create an exit strategy and they live in vacation mode and holiday mode and doom and gloom for many, many months and usually end up gaining more weight than they ever planned on. And it's simply because they're not creating an exit strategy. Okay, let's see who we have here today. I hope this is resonating with you. I hope you feel empowered about creating thoughts for yourself that will allow you to change your overall outcome. You can implement this strategy in any area of your life. You can put it in with your emotions. You can implement it with relationships. You can implement it with money. You can implement it with your job. You can implement it with how you wake up at the beginning of the day. You creating the thoughts that you want to have in your brain will be the starting point for everything that you have in your life. And if you keep starting out with negative thoughts, we have to question that, ask how that's working for us, and then switch those thoughts to a positive. Okay, here we go. Leona, how are you, my friend? It's always good to have you here. You are first on the comments list today, girlfriend. You go. I am going to put a couple of links in the comment section for you guys. One is our midlife mindset shift invite form. So if you're interested in doing this type of work more specifically in your life, we have our midlife mindset shift courses. There's 3 courses, and our group coaching program. It is launching this week to our email list. So if you want to get on, make sure you get on that list. And then if you're interested in coming into the intermittent fasting course, which is a great place for most women to start, because when we really find our power in a state of hungry and we change our thoughts about how we show up around food, so many other things change for us as well. So we have both options available. Links are both on Facebook and YouTube. One of the biggest things about the intermittent fasting course is the mindset shifts women are making. Just the simple fear of not having food at your fingertips 24 hours a day, that's a real thing. And when you can sit in a state of hungry and realize that's where your magic happens, your entire mindset around nutrition and food and how food shows up for you in your life and how you show up when you're around food will change for you for the better. It is the most powerful transition women are making today with taking care of themselves, especially in this aging season for a lot of us, because we did not grow up with this kind of mindset. We were not modeled this type of mindset. And it is still lacking in today's world for most nutrition, fitness, mindset, whatever it is about women arenas, right? We have the power to choose how it is we think and how we take care of ourselves. And that's really what we are empowering women with here. Jackie, hello, girlfriend. It's so good to see you. And you're saying hello to Leona. I love that you guys are all in community together. Hey, Bree, so good to have you. April, love this topic. Awesome. Hope it served you well. Hope you heard something you haven't heard yet. Nancy, good afternoon. And all you ladies, love it. Bitcali, I think it is. Yes, that's me. Yeah, it's a lot of people, right? Here's what I want us to remember here in this community, though, is you do not have to identify as anything that's not serving you. You get to pick who you are, how you show up, what your titles are, what you're willing to label yourself as. And if you've identified some things as things not working for you, then you get the opportunity to change that. We have an entire lesson on this inside of our midlife mindset shift course where we create I am statements we want to believe. And it's a tough lesson for a lot of women because it's difficult for us to create something that is positive for ourselves that we want to believe before we believe it. And it's a very powerful exercise to watch women fall into this belief system by just repeating the mantras in their own brain. When you start repeating those mantras in your own brain, it changes how you feel about yourself. And then you start showing up for yourself from that feeling state. It's super powerful work. So Fonda, glad to be in the number one more time. Hit the like thumbs button. This has helped me stop, pause, and not stuff food to not deal with my emotions. Thank you again, Diane. Yeah, for sure. Food is not in our life, and it is not designed to solve problems. Food is designed to nourish us, right? But we have been marketed to, lied to, and led to believe that food is the thing that causes or is there as a tool for boredom, loneliness, sadness. It's our confidant, best friend, all the things. And that's a misuse of food, just like any other substance that we misuse. The hard thing that I will admit about food is that it's everywhere. And we have to create boundaries with it. And we have to really, really understand ourselves and how we show up around food so that we can make food advantageous for us, right? And use it for its true purpose. The thing about food that a lot of women find difficult as well is it's socially acceptable. Everyone wants to jump on the food bandwagon. Everyone wants to jump on the, oh yeah, that's me too bandwagon. And I get it, right? But you wouldn't hang around people who were doing things that didn't serve you. So if you have found that being an emotional eater doesn't serve you, don't hang around the water cooler with a bunch of people who are justifying that kind of behavior. It's only acceptable because we let it be acceptable, and you don't have to live in that camp for sure. I do both. So Fonda, we were taught to use food to celebrate and to comfort us, and now food is more readily available. Food is everywhere. It's hard to get a break from it. The thing about intermittent fasting that a lot of women struggle with, especially in the beginning phases of fasting, and opening up their feasting window, is the fear that they can't eat. And what I always like to reinforce is you can eat. You're making a conscious, so again, we're creating a thought, right, of when food is going to be placed in our life specifically and when we are going to choose not to have it. But food is everywhere. So you're simply just making a choice. You're allowed to do whatever it is you want to do based on what it is you say that you really want. So get clear on what it is you say you really want. And then when you establish your own fasting and feasting protocols, the can'ts go away because you can do whatever you want. You have just determined eating all the time is not what you want to do. Super fun when we can make it that light for sure. Good morning, Roberta. So good to have you with us. Carmen, good afternoon. I needed to hear this. Awesome. Mary Ann, I'm waiting for eye surgery. Should I fast longer? I'm sure it will help my mindset. I'm a little nervous. Well, I think you just answered your own question. Right, Marianne? If you're feeling a little nervous about your eye surgery, first figure out why it is you're feeling nervous. Is it elective surgery, or is it surgery you don't have a choice about? So if it's elective surgery, there's no need to feel nervous. You're choosing that. If it's not elective, I'm sure the outcome that you're going for is going to be better than what you're living with now. So again, lean into that thought, right? The result of what it is you're going to partake in. And then this is why we practice living a healthy and happy lifestyle all the time, so that when something like a surgery comes up, we are in our best position to handle that situation. So if you're happy and healthy going into surgery and you're doing everything you can to make sure that you're going to have the best outcome with your surgery, there's really no need to be nervous, because you've done the best that you can. You just go in and you have your surgery. So that's what I would recommend also, is where's the nervousness coming from? And then you already know, hopefully, that fasting is a thing that really does have the most optimal opportunity for your body to heal itself. So if you're nervous, put your body in the most advantageous position to heal itself. Oftentimes, when we find ourselves in an emotional state or a nervous state around food, we are not, again, we're going to go from the circumstances of eye surgery. Your thought is you're nervous, that, there's something that's going to go wrong probably, which is making you feel nervous. And then you have to identify, Marianne, what do you do when you're nervous? And if it's unconsciously eat, or it's eating junk food or eating foods that you know aren't going to serve you, is that going to set you up for the best outcome with your surgery? Probably not, right? So then if the circumstance stays the same, eye surgery, and your thought is, I've got this, I've been practicing and preparing for this, and your feeling is then empowered or confident or safe, how does Marianne make decisions when she's feeling safe and secure and confident? Then that will probably have a better opportunity for you to get the result that you want. So we have to go through these scenarios and really identify how we show up for ourselves when we are in a specific feeling state, because those feelings are going to drive what you decide to do next. So put yourself in the most advantageous position, and I promise you, everything is going to be great. So Fonda, the travel days fasting has been so liberating. I also love the idea of exit strategies. The pause idea works in so many different situations and circumstances. Yes, we don't ever create, as a society, exit strategies. We just go all in. And the power of giving yourself a plan with permission to go enjoy your vacation is really allowing so many women to actually enjoy vacation. There are so many women who come to me and say, I'm going on a 7-day cruise and I'm so stressed out about it because of food, right? And that's just because we're letting food control us. We aren't taking control of ourselves when food is present. So if you give yourself permission, I'm going on a cruise, and the reason we're going on this cruise is because of the buffets, and this cruise line has amazing healthy options, and we can have room service every morning and have breakfast brought to us, and we don't usually do those kind of things, and we want to take advantage of it. So we're going to do that for 7 days, and I'm going to make the healthiest decisions I can with the choices I have available, because I also don't want to be on a cruise and feel like food has just completely knocked me off my feet. I want to look my best and feel my best on that 7-day cruise that I've worked so hard to be able to get. And when the cruise is over on day 7, when we have our last dinner on the cruise, that's when I'm going to leave cruise mode and go back to my everyday practice of fasting long, feasting well, training smart. Punishment is completely wiped out because you've already granted yourself permission with an exit strategy. Super powerful. I've been using the breathe, pause, think, ask. It works for me every time. Why do people around you constantly want to feed you? Because most people aren't doing this work. Right? Most people aren't doing this work. And it's a very selective, I think, elite group of people who are willing to just be honest with themselves about what they say they really want and what they're willing to do to get the thing. And if you pay attention to the people who constantly want to feed you, what are they talking about the most? How tired they are, how much weight they have to lose, how they have to go to their doctor, the prescriptions they have to manage, how hard it is for them to walk around. Like, it's a laundry list of complaints. Why do you want to practice the same lifestyle behaviors of people who have a laundry list of complaints? You don't want to model that behavior, and you don't have to model that behavior. So you just say, no, thank you. You look someone in the eye and say, no, thank you. If you make eye contact with someone who's offering something that you don't want, and you say, no, thank you, and you don't flinch, it's powerful. They won't know what to do. They won't know what to do. And if they continue to stress you out by, or I guess you're going to let them stress you out, but if they continue to pressure you about you doing something that you don't want to do, but they want you to do, you have to create some boundaries for that. And sometimes it's just being very bold and honest with people who say they love you and care about you. Please stop forcing me to eat things I don't want to eat. No, thank you. That's not something that I'm choosing to eat today. Please respect what it is. Like you can say it however you want, but no one's going to pressure me into doing anything that I don't want to do. No one, right? And when you get that firm about what it is you say that you really want, which is why we do this work here, then no one can pressure you into doing something you don't want to do. It's all self-love, self-worth, having these conversations with yourself, creating permissions for yourself, being really firm about what it is you say you really want to yourself because of your why. When you're clear on that and you put both feet on the ground and you don't budge, then things will change for you. If you continually budge and you continually give in to these people who have these laundry lists of complaints that you don't want to live like, if you budge for them, they will keep coming after you. Don't budge. Do I have a reputation of being a hard ass? 100%. I love it. No one doubts me. No one pressures me because they know I'm not going to budge. It's either let off or I'm going to let go. I'm going to walk out. So when you get like that, your life gets so much happier. It becomes so much easier, and people will start to respect what you say and what you say you want for yourself. Anna Lee, thanks for the information. You're welcome, my friend. Leona, great info, Diane, and it clicks with me. I'm so happy. Jackie, fantastic. Wrote everything down. Makes so much sense. Just need to apply it. Okay, Jackie, just do this. Wrote everything down. Makes so much sense. Going to apply it. Super simple. We don't think about managing our thoughts like we do a checklist. We don't think about managing our thoughts like we do a project at work. We don't think about managing our thoughts like we do anything else in our life that we really want to make some progress in. If you put managing your thoughts up there with the other things in your life that you value and really want to make some strides in, all the other things in your life become so much easier. So much easier. You have to manage this first. Patty, thank you, Diane. Exit strategy. I love it. This will definitely help me navigate the holidays and when I go on cruises. Here's the other thing I want you guys to remember. And I shared this. I've actually shared this with 2 or 3 consult calls this week. Is this? Let's say, Patty, for instance, and I talked about what I did to celebrate, right? And when I'm happy, I like to go out and celebrate with food. Here's the other thing that I came to grips with about myself is that during the summer months, I tend to get a little thick. I don't say I gain weight. I don't say I get fat. I just get a little thick, meaning I'm not as dialed in to what I do in the fall and the winter and the spring. And it's because I'm a social person. I like to go out and socialize. We tend to have more dinners out with friends and family. Like we have more opportunities to just be. And so instead of fighting that for me, I have really come to give myself the opportunity to just be who I am in the summer. I love the summer. So I don't fight it anymore. I know in the summer, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to get a little thick. I'm okay with that. And in the fall and the winter and the spring, I go back into fall, winter, and spring mode, and I lean back out. It's just what I do. I don't fight it anymore. I don't try to be someone else in the summer. I give myself permission to enjoy my summers the way I enjoy my summers. If you are a person who tends to gain weight over the holidays because of the way you choose to celebrate the holidays, why is that a negative thing? It's only a negative thing if you identify it as a negative thing or a bad thing for you. But if you've done that every year, your entire life, I gain 10 to 15 pounds every holiday, why don't you just go with that? And just be like, I enjoy the holidays. I enjoy all the extra food. I enjoy the treats. I love it. I know this about myself. And as soon as the holidays are over, I leave holiday mode. And on this day, you pick it on the calendar. I stop celebrating the holidays and I go back to doing what I know I do when it's not holiday time. Your body will let go of the weight simply because you've made a lifestyle change. You don't have to join a challenge. You don't have to do a, post holiday detox. You don't have to do anything drastic. Just make a decision. Holidays are over. On this date, I go back to doing what I normally do. I don't eat the sugar cookies. I say no thank you to people bringing their crappy leftovers to my house. I throw away all the things I don't want to eat anymore. And I just go back to being the other version of me. Give yourself permission to be a holiday person and don't punish yourself when you enjoy what it is you say that you enjoy. It makes life so much easier. You won't tarnish the holidays. You won't tarnish the vacation. You won't put any blame or negative, resenting feelings toward anybody that you are with. It's just you. That's who you are. Let it be. And then move about your merry life. Now, if you have decided, I don't want to gain weight over the holidays anymore, then you have to learn to practice the holidays in a different way. Either way, it's your choice. Just don't live in conflict and just don't live in punishment mode. Super freeing, really fun to do. Okay, so I put all the links in there for coaching with us if you want to jump into any one of our groups. Diana, I recently lost my fur baby at 16 years. Old me would have hid my feelings in junk food. I didn't and worked through my feelings without the junk. Diana, that is perfectly stated. So sorry you lost your little fur baby. I can't even imagine. But turning to different ways to manage your emotions other than sinking it into junk food is what I call progress, my friend. You're doing great things for yourself. And the reality is you can't change what happened. You can only change how you show up and how you move forward. And so you want to keep looking and feeling your best. You want to stay the healthiest that you possibly can. And you can figure out ways to mourn your fur baby, keep your fur baby around in your, life, in your thoughts, and little memory making kind of opportunities for you, and without doing harm to yourself. And so you beautifully stated that and modeled that for us. So Diana, I'm so proud of you. Leona, January 23 grad, jump into classic and change your life. It changed my life for the better. Yes, it's life changing for sure. Thank you for saying that. Bree, I try not to have hot water or hot tea whenever emotions bother me. Perfect, right? You're putting something else in place to just kind of sit with the emotion, but you're not putting something in place that you have deemed doing harm to you. So sitting with emotion is super powerful without trying to numb it away, or what we often do it as women is push it down by just shoving a bunch of food in our body. We think that lets us manage things, but you're just pushing it down and saving it for a later time. And oftentimes those emotions come up when they're least expected. So we don't want to do that either. Leona, Diana, I'm so sorry. It hurts so much to lose our pets. They are part of our family. Ask them for a specific sign that he's with you in spirit, and he'll send the sign when he's ready. Yeah, she worked through her emotions beautifully. Glass slippers, girlfriend, what's up? I had my first successful fast yesterday. I took a hot yoga class that ended at 10:30, then went to Target to get house stuff. I ate at 2:30. Thank you so much. You go, girlfriend. You are winning for sure. That's how we do it, right? You just keep your mind busy. I'm so proud of you. Nancy, I found out that I have a lot of inflammation in my stomach. My scope put down my throat. I'm a little lost in this. My fasting should help the problem. Sure, it will help the problem, but how long of a time frame are you giving yourself? Right? How diligent have you been, without exception, to keep all inflammatory things out of your body and your life? So we have to go back to, are the expectations you're having as the result realistic to the things that you've been doing? And so you have to give your body time and grace and space, because you're determining when the time frame is for your body to heal, when ultimately that's your body's decision. How honest are you about everything you're putting in your body? Have you really identified all the things that you feel are inflammatory to you? Have you removed them 100% with no exceptions? And then you start just going down a list of things, and then you just got to give your body the space and the grace. Also, I was told because I don't drink an organic coffee that it breaks my fast, even if it's black. Is that true? No, it's not true. But what we want to remember is that just like anything else, coffee comes in varying levels of cleanliness, purity, additives, processing, all the things. So it might be a good thing for you, especially with the inflammation in your gut. Coffee might be one of those things you also have to test, right? If you go 30 days without coffee, what happens with the inflammation in your gut? Does it go down? Coffee might be an inflammatory thing for you. You might not know that yet. You got to test everything. But the better quality your coffee is, the better overall result you're going to get with your health. For a lot of people, it's anxiety. Like, we've upped our coffee game big time for purity and cleanliness and the way it's processed. And we feel so much better. Coffee should not make anybody feel sick, right? And if it's making you not feel your best, or it's making you not feel good, or it's making you feel sick or anxious or whatever, even jitters, you're not supposed to get the jitters with coffee. Then you might want to just change your coffee brand or the way it's processed. So look into that as well. But the organic part is just not true. What breaks a fast is an insulin response. So if there's something in your coffee that might be doing that for you, or having your body having to manage something that's inflammatory, for instance, then that might be one of those things that's going to take the attention off your body healing itself, because it has to manage that. And that's really what we want to look for. Let's see. Roberta, I love the idea of permission with an exit strategy. Thank you so much for this. Yeah, you're welcome. Patty, I miss having the energized sense of calm. I do tend to go too strict when I feast, which then causes me to overindulge. It is crazy. Patty, it's not crazy. You just have to create a plan. So if you miss the energized sense of calm, write down all the things that you do that provides that sense and feeling for you. So you have that list. If I do this, I get the energized sense of calm. Then figure out why you're going too strict. What's causing you to feel like you have to be strict on feasting? Because you have the ability to put anything in your feast that you deem appropriate for you. So are you using feasting as a corrective mechanism? Like, I eat these things and now I'm going to go strict to try to undo that. That's something that you want to go through on a mindset little exercise, right? And if you find that you're doing that when you stop to think about it, then all you have to do is just stop doing things that you think you can correct with being strict, because we know that doesn't work either. So identify the things that you do that create the energized sense of calm feeling for you. Do that more. And then try to identify why you feel the need to go strict on your feasting, because we don't need to go strict. We feast well so that we can fast. So are you feasting well so that you can fast well? And then you'll probably be able to figure all that out. And then try to figure out, are you indulging because you're strict? Or are you strict because you're indulging? Because that's going to be a big aha moment for you too. Vonica, yes, the vacation stress is gone because of these podcasts. I used to need a vacation after my vacation. No more. Thanks, Diane. Yes, vacation is a luxury for a lot of people. We have to work really hard to save the money. We have to work really hard to get the time off. We have to work really hard to be able to leave our life for however many days you get to be blessed with a vacation. Why do we want stress to come into that situation because of food, or just because we're simply not planning our life well with our thoughts? Don't let food rob you of a vacation. Do not let food rob you of vacation. If you're going on vacation because of food, which is a very realistic reason to go on vacation, enjoy the heck out of your vacation, and then implement your exit strategy when vacation is over. Eating food is not a bad thing. That's the other thing we want to really work on here in this community. Food is not the enemy. Food is not a bad thing. Food is not the problem. It's how we think and how those thoughts make us feel when food is present, because then we act off of that. And so we have to really make food our ally and not our enemy. We need to understand food's priorities for us. We need to understand food's place. And we also need to make sure that we give ourselves permission without punishment to enjoy food in food type situations. It's very freeing to be able to do. We have to set boundaries around food and people who keep pushing it on us. Yes, Leona, 100%. I have no problem with that. And the people that I spend the most time with are very clear on that. They know that I am very disciplined and I am very structured, and I have no problem saying no when no is the answer that I'm feeling I need to give in that situation. No one pressures me. Yay for an exit strategy. It's a new way to think of celebrating with food and holidays. Thank you so much, Diane. You're welcome. You're welcome, Jackie. Bree, next week I've scheduled a dinner with a friend outside my feasting window. I was a little nervous about it. Now I have an exit strategy planned. I will do a longer fast before and enjoy the dinner. Yes, Bree, go enjoy the dinner. And then when you're at the restaurant, remember, this is the other trick. When we're at restaurants, we are the patron of the restaurant. We are there to pay for a service. Ask a million questions about the menu. I always ask, what type of oil are you using in your kitchen? Because I don't want to get accidentally soyed because I didn't ask a question. If I get soyed at a restaurant, I'm knocked off my feet for a good 2 or 3 days, and it is just the worst for me. So I try to avoid that at all costs. You just simply ask your server, hey, do you mind going in the kitchen and checking to see what kind of oil you use in the kitchen? A lot of times they come back and they say vegetable oil. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jessica, or whatever your food server's name is. Always make sure you talk to your food server by their first name. And then say, do you mind, Jessica, going back into the kitchen and telling me what kind of vegetable oil it is? Because it's usually a combination, and it's usually like soy and sunflower, soy and corn, or something like that. And then they come back and they tell you, oh, it's soy and something, or they're like, it's peanut oil, or an oil that you are okay with. Then you can decide on what it is you want to eat off the menu, because you're an informed consumer. I never order unless I know what kind of oil is being used in the kitchen. And then my choices are then going to be dependent on where oil could be used. The other thing that I do when I'm at a restaurant is I use the menu as a guide and not a rule of thumb. Remember, menus are produced by a restaurant to help them with their food inventory and how to plan how the kitchen works. It has taken no consideration or regard in for you, Bree, the customer that's coming in, and what your food choices are. It's simply for the restaurant so it can manage well, budget for food, order food, all the things. And they package it together in a really nice little menu line item. I am the one who goes into the restaurant and says, hey, Jessica, or whoever my food server is, I would like to have the salmon with the broccoli and the rice. And can I have it with no seasonings on it and as little oil or butter or whatever as possible? And can you put that together on a plate for me and just charge me whatever it is you would charge if that was on a salmon plate? Yeah, no problem, right? That's what a food server's job is. So don't be afraid to ask for what it is you want when you go to a restaurant. You're the patron of the restaurant. They are there to sell you what you want. Don't be afraid to ask for it and get really creative. Read the entire menu and then pick and choose what you want that's on the menu, because you know it's in the kitchen, and design your own plate. Super fun to do. And then you just tell your food server, thank you very much, and you tip them accordingly. Super easy. You'll always be happy when you go out to dine. Diane, I love that. Thank you. You're welcome, my friend. Thanks, Diane. The eye surgery is not selective. It's a macular hole and repairable, and I'm home from work cleaning closets to keep busy. I have to be face down for 7 days post-op. Well, then enjoy the heck out of that. Find a good book if you can. If it's only one eye, make you read out of one eye, or get an audiobook you can listen to and enjoy your downtime. And remember, when you're down, you don't have a lot of caloric needs, right? Your body just needs to heal itself. Put healing things inside of your body. Enjoy the 7 days, and then you'll be back to doing what you need to do before you know it. Let's see, Rhonda, I'd love to know what brand coffee you use. If you're on my newsletter, we'll send it out. I'll have to go get it. We order it through Amazon. I'll have to go figure out where to find it on Amazon, and I will send it out in our newsletter this weekend. Get on our newsletter too. We're also going to be sending out a lot of our healthy holiday gift items that we have used in our family, that I've given as gifts in our family as well, and some ways to save some money on some really fun, healthy things that you can present to people that you love. So make sure you're on my email list. You can get there by just going to the fortoday'sagingwoman.com, find out more, and that'll put you on my email list for sure. Diane, how did you find out that soy doesn't agree with you? It was a very long process. I've told the story here a few times, but Rhonda, you are super welcome. I was going through was when I started intermittent fasting, and I was going through a lot of food experimentation kind of projects, because I was trying to reverse insulin resistance. I was just diagnosed with prediabetes. My brain was going wacko on me. My body was a mess, like all the things. And so as I started fasting, just like you guys go through, what I was doing in my feasting window, my body was very, very responsive to. And I had been suffering from a pain in would go up my face like this, up into my brain, and it started here. I thought I had like thyroid cancer. It was almost debilitating how much pain I was in. And so I kept getting a bunch of like CAT scans and MRIs and all this stuff. And they're like, there's nothing there, there's nothing there, there's nothing there. And so I kind of at that point figured out it must be something that I'm eating. I ate something with soy in it, immediately felt the pain here. It shot up to my brain, looked at the ingredients on the package, and sure enough, there was soy lecithin in it. It was turkey bacon because we were eating turkey bacon, thinking it was healthier than regular bacon, when in fact, turkey bacon is just a very highly processed food because turkeys don't produce bacon, right? And so there was soy lecithin in it. And then I started paying attention to every time I was exposed to soy, how I felt, and it was always the same feeling. So I cut out soy completely. And this is the lesson I teach inside the course, and was exposed to soy 15 times in one day. And that feeling was just nagging. So I went 100%, didn't put anything in my mouth, on my body, or in my environment unless I checked the ingredients label. Completely wiped out all soy. Pain went away. Lump in my throat went away. And the only time now I ever have one of those kind of feelings is if I get duped or I get lazy, right? And so that's how I figured it out. Most people will figure out that dairy, soy, and gluten are causing them some sort of little pesky problem, and you won't realize it or make the connection. Nobody believes it until you do a 30-day elimination diet, and then you add something back in. So check your environment, read all labels, candles, air fresheners, lotions, makeup, all the things. Get rid of soy for 30 days, then put soy back in, see how you feel. If you have a negative reaction, then you probably are intolerant to soy as well. Super fun experiment to do. Patty, oh wow, that is powerful. I do need to accept I'm a person who enjoys her holidays and baked goods and treats. If I don't want to gain too much weight, then I will cut back on the extra foods. This feels way better than feeling guilty. Thank you. Yes, it's a choice, right? Why deny yourself? There are people who absolutely love Christmas, Thanksgiving, the holidays. It's all about baking. It's all about celebrating. It's all about food. Why would you want to deny that or lie to yourself about that? Just enjoy it. You might have to put some boundaries on it so you don't go all in on everything. Like, I'm going to have the sugar cookies, but I'm not going to have the pumpkin pie, whatever. That's your decision. Maybe you have all the things. The problem is when the holidays are over, how you feel about yourself after you just gave yourself permission. What I really want you to be able to do, Patty, and I know you personally, so I'm saying this with love and respect for you 100%, is just be like, dang, that was the best holiday ever. I know exactly what to do to get this weight off. It might take me 3 months. I'm not going to do anything desperate or drastic. I'm just going to rinse and repeat what I know works for me. And by February, everything will be fine, right? And then the next holiday, I bet you're going to go into it not feeling so restricted, not feeling so deprived, not feeling like it's an all in, all out kind of situation, because you're going to now feel your way through it in an honest way. Powerful, powerful things to do for sure. Super fun. So Fonda, glass slippers. I fasted for 22 and a half hours today. I was working on a project when my fasting window closed. So I continued fasting until I finished and was not focused on the fast at all. Yeah, that's super fun too. Bree, absolutely. It's a buffet and I choose whatever suits my needs. I just have to prevent me overeating because the food is that good. And today I make good food choices and won't indulge too much. Yeah. So just tell yourself this, like I have one plate of food. So you just get whatever size plate it is. And I'm going to put food on that plate. And when that food is done, that's going to be my food eating experience for that event. And then you move on to something else. So you can also go outside of your normal protocol and still have boundaries for yourself and not feel confined or restricted or deprived of anything, because there is a gluttonous portion to some of this too. And like, do we have to eat that much? Can I have one cookie? Do I really need all 12? Is one better than none? And you get to create those kind of boundaries for yourself as well, because what you don't want to do on vacation is to wake up not feeling good, or what you don't want to do is to go out with your girlfriend and have dinner the next day you wake up and the association you have about that experience is negative because you ate things that are going to make you feel bad. We don't want to do that to our people, right? And the people we love. Leona, I love how you're assertive in ordering the food you want at a restaurant. Yes, I get what I want and I get what I pay for. And I used to be a food server, so I know what the job of a food server is. And anytime anyone came in to order when I was waiting on them and they had substitutions or adjustments they wanted to make, I knew that was my job. And my job was to make sure they had a pleasant experience. So now I take what I did as my job as a food server and I just moved it into my life now as a consumer. I'm not going to pay for food out that's going to make me sick, period. If you're embarrassed to ask for what you want, that's not a restaurant problem. That's a you problem, right? That's you being assertive and confident in knowing what it is you say that you want. So don't limit going out because you can't ask for what you want. Work on why it is you can't ask for what you want so that you can go out and enjoy yourself. Again, it's all the thoughts we have for sure. Amazing how soy is in so many foods and products. Yes, I cannot have a soy candle in my house. It doesn't even have to be burning. If it's in my house, it will make me feel sick. I have been duped by skincare products. I have been duped by makeup. I have been duped by vitamins. I have been like, everything has soy lecithin in it because it is a cheap binding filler. You're not cheap. You go get yourself the better quality product. The other thing about soy that we have to remember is soy's in it was in spaghetti sauce, tuna fish, like anything that's going to have more than one ingredient. There's a pretty good probability there's some soy in it. So right next to the spaghetti sauce with soy, there's a spaghetti sauce without soy. Again, be an informed consumer. Keep reading enough labels, turning things around until you get to the product that has the ingredients that have passed your test. Don't settle for just grabbing something off the shelf. The front is marketing, the back is information. Always buy off information, don't buy off marketing. You want to make sure that you're paying for what it is you want. Okay, that's it for us today. We've gone an hour. I love you guys. I love the conversation. I hope this conversation and the questions and comments that we've asked here today will serve others who happen to stumble across our YouTube channel and our videos here. Powerful moves you can make for yourself if you create the thoughts you want to think based on how it is you say you want to feel, because those feelings are ultimately going to get you what it is you say you really want for yourself in your life. Loved spending time with you guys today. Thanks for being an active participant here in our community. I appreciate you. Make sure you share this with someone that you know, love, and trust, because maybe it might be the girlfriend that you want to go out to lunch with. And if y'all are on the same page, it makes lunch so much more fun. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys on Monday.